Samsy. Story time on a little scooter. What are we doing there, Samsy? We're going around the world in 80 days. Part 24. And we's over in the Needles District again. And that little picture you saw at the beginning was of an old DR 650 that I used to roll around on before the adventure bike thing became a real craze. It's a 2005, I think, is what it is. And yeah, I used to do my entire summer camping trip on that bike, as well as a few other bikes, but I was fortunate enough to have a few bikes. That old bike there, that 2005 Suzuki, I still got it. He runs just fine. I think I'm going to give it away. I think we're going to, when we finally get a couple of subscribers here, I think I'm probably just going to figure out a way to do a little raffle and give the darn thing away. Actually, I looked into it. I don't think YouTube will let me do that. So we got to figure out something to do with that bike. Maybe y'all can help me out. Give me a few clues as to what you figure I can do with that bike. All right. Now this around the world in 80 days thing. Now when we left this thing off, everybody was on the train and they was just, getting it done. And the train was going up and down the mountains and around, and we're just going to leave it at that and talk about it from right there, and here we go. So there were few or no bridges or tunnels on the route. The railway turned around the sides of the mountains and did not attempt to violate nature by taking the shortest cut from one point to another. The train entered the state of Nevada through the Carson Valley about 9 o'clock. Oh, see, that's why I was thinking about that old bike, because the last time I did that one, I was up near Carson City up there with it. So that's why I was thinking about that bike. There we go. The train entered the state of Nevada through the Carson Valley. I think I did. All right. I don't know how much of this story I'm going to done if I'm going to be reminiscing here, but I'm pretty sure I boogied on up. It was middle of summer, so I left in the middle of the night and went as far as I could, and I ended up doing an iron butt on it. I ended up leaving the Phoenix Valley here and ending up at Crater Lake up in Oregon there. And I ended up going through Reno and Carson Valley, that kind of thing. Boy, that's beautiful country up there. Okay, Carson Valley about 9 o'clock, going always northeasterly, and at midday reached Reno, where there was a delay of 20 minutes for breakfast. From this point, the road running along Humboldt River passed northward for several miles by its banks, and then it turned eastward and kept by the river until it reached the Humboldt Range, nearly at the extreme limit of Nevada. Yeah. Having breakfast, Mr. Fogg and his companions resumed their places in the car and observed the various landscape which unfolded itself as they passed along the vast prairies, the mountains lining the horizon, and the creeks with their frothy, foamy streams. Sometimes a great herd of buffaloes massing together in the distance seemed like a movable dam. These innumerable multitudes of ruminating beasts often form an insurmountable obstacle to the passage of the trains. Thousands of them have been seen passing over the track for hours together in compact ranks. The locomotive is then forced to stop and wait till the road is once more clear. Oh, I bet you that's when the banditos take the opportunity to rob the train. Oh, here we go. Let's just take a look. This happened, indeed, to the train in which Mr. Fogg was traveling. About 12 o'clock, a troop of 10 or 12,000 head of buffalo encumbered the track. The locomotive, slackening its speed, tried to clear the way with its cow-catcher, but the mass of animals was too great. The buffaloes marched along with a tranquil gait, uttering now and then defying bellowings. There was no use in interrupting them, for having taken a particular direction, nothing could moderate and change their course. It is a torrent of living flesh which no dam could contain. The travelers gazed on this curious spectacle from the platforms, but Phileas Fogg, who had the most reason of all to be in a hurry, remained in his seat and waited philosophically. That is a word that gets me every time, but I think I pulled it off this time, until it should please the buffaloes to get out of the way. Passepartout was furious at the delay they occasioned, and longed to discharge his arsenal of revolvers upon them. "What a country!" cried he. "Mere cattle stop the trains and go by in a procession, just as if they were not impeding travel. Parbleu! I should like to know if Phileas Fogg... Oh, hang on a second. I should like to know if Mr. Fogg foresaw this mishap in his program. And here's an engineer who doesn't dare to run the locomotive into the herd of beasts." The engineer did not try to overcome the obstacle, and he was wise. He would have crushed the first buffalo, no doubt, with the cow catcher, but the locomotive, however powerful, would soon have been checked. The train would inevitably have been thrown off the track and would then have been helpless. The best course was to wait patiently and regain the lost time by greater speed when the obstacle was removed. The procession of buffaloes lasted 3 full hours, and it was night before the track was clear. The last ranks of the herd were now passing over the rails, while the first had already disappeared below the southern horizon. It was 8 o'clock when the train passed through the defiles of the Humboldt Range, and 9:30 when it penetrated Utah, the region of the Great Salt Lake, the singular colony of the Mormons. Whew, that's the end of the chapter. Here we go. Chapter 27. Well, maybe we should take a look at this drive. I think we're just going out to the... Oh, I can't remember what it's called. What a surprise, huh? I can't remember what it's called. It's called the teapot or the boiling pot. Boiling pot, maybe. I don't know. Some kind of viewpoint. Pot. Chapter 27, in which Passepartout undergoes, at a speed of 20 miles an hour, a course of Mormon history. During the night of the 5th of December, the train ran southeasterly for about 50 miles, then rose an equal distance in a northeasterly direction toward the Great Salt Lake. Passepartout, about 9 o'clock, went out upon the platform to take the air. The weather was cold, the heavens gray, but it was not snowing. The sun's disk, enlarged by the mist, seemed an enormous ring of gold, and Passepartout was amusing himself by calculating its value in pounds sterling. When he was diverted from this interesting study by a strange-looking personage who made his appearance on the platform. Oh, it's probably that fix. No. This personage, who had taken the train at Elko, was tall and dark, with a black mustache, black stockings, a black silk hat, and a black waistcoat, black trousers, and a white cravat, and dog-skin gloves. He might have been taken for a clergyman. He went from one end of the train to the other, and affixed to the door of each car a notice written in manuscript. Passepartout approached and read one of these notices, which stated that Elder William Hitch, Mormon missionary, taking advantage of his presence on train number 48, would deliver a lecture on Mormonism in car number 117 from 11 to 12 o'clock, and that he invited all who were desirous of being instructed concerning the mysteries of the religion of the Latter-day Saints to attend. Oh, well, that reminds me now, maybe we'll have to check, but maybe we'll have to bring in Riders of the Purple Sage here. That's one of my favorite books. I'll go, said Passepartout to himself. He knew nothing of Mormonism except the custom of polygamy, which is its foundation. The news quickly spread through the train, which contained about 100 passengers, 30 of whom, at most, attracted by the notice, ensconced themselves in car number 117. Passepartout took one of the front seats, neither Mr. Fogg nor Fix cared to attend. Oh, see, now here we're going to stop over in here and go for a little hike. Of course, I'm not going to take you on a hike. Boy, I tell you, if this was one of those channels where you would get all that good information, boy, oh boy, I don't even stop and look at the sign for you. There you go. But you can tell, that it's supposed to be just like to wet your whistle so that you, oh boy, I think I want to go over there. That's a good thing nobody told me all about it, because now I get to find out the adventure for myself. Okay. Neither Mr. Fogg nor Fix cared to attend. At the appointed hour, Elder William Hitch rose and, in an irritated voice, as if he had already been contradicted, said, "I tell you that Joe Smith is a martyr, that his brother Hiram is a martyr, and that the persecutions of the United States government against the prophets will also make a martyr of Brigham Young. Who dares to say the contrary?" Oh boy, that's how he's going to start it out. No one ventured to gainsay the missionary, whose excited tone contrasted curiously with his natural calm visage. No doubt his anger arose from the hardships to which the Mormons were actually subjected. The government had just succeeded, with some difficulty, in reducing these independent fanatics to its rule. It had made itself master of Utah and subjected that territory to the laws of the Union after imprisoning Brigham Young on a charge of rebellion and polygamy. Yeah, see, we're back we're back rolling already. That was a good hike. The disciples of the prophet had since redoubled their efforts and resisted, by words at least, the authority of Congress. Elder Hitch, as is seen, was trying to make proselytes on the very railway train. Then, emphasizing his words With his loud voice and frequent gestures, he related the history of the Mormons from biblical times, how that in Israel a Mormon prophet on the tribe of Joseph published the annals of the new religion and bequeathed them to his son Mormon. How, many centuries later, a translation of this precious book, which was written in Egyptian, was made by Joseph Smith, Jr., a Vermont farmer, who revealed himself as a mystical prophet in 1825, and how, in short, the celestial messenger appeared to him in an illuminated forest and gave him the annals of the Lord. Several of the audience, not being much interested in the missionary's narrative, here left the car. But Elder Hitch, continuing his lecture, related how Smith, Jr., with his father, 2 brothers, and a few disciples, founded the Church of the Latter-day Saints, which, adopted not only in America, but in England, Norway, and Sweden, and Germany, counts many artisans as well as men engaged in the liberal professions. Among its members, how a colony was established in Ohio, a temple erected there at a cost of $200,000, and a town built in Kirkland, how Smith became an enterprising banker and received from a simple mummy showman a papyrus scroll written by Abraham and several famous Egyptians. The eldest story became somewhat wearisome, and his audience grew gradually less until it was reduced to 20 passengers. But this did not disconcert the enthusiast, who proceeded with the story of Joseph Smith's bankruptcy in 1837, and how his ruined creditors gave him a coat of tar and feathers, his reappearance some years afterwards, more honorable and honored than ever, at Independence, Missouri, the chief of a flourishing colony of 3,000 disciples, and pursuit thence by outraged Gentiles and retirement into the far west, where they took over Utah. 10 hearers only were left now, among them honest Passepartout, who was listening with all his ears. Thus he learned that after long persecutions, Smith reappeared in Illinois, and in 1839 founded a community of Nauvoo on the Mississippi, numbering 25,000 souls, of which he became mayor, chief justice, and general-in-chief. That he announced himself in 1843 as a candidate for the presidency of the United States, and that finally, being drawn into ambuscade at Carthage, he was thrown into prison and assassinated by a band of men disguised in masks. See, I didn't know none of this. I don't know. We'll have to go back and check if any of this is legit. I mean, the book was written some time ago. Passepartout was now the only person left in the car, and the elder, looking him full in the face, reminded him that 2 years after the assassination of Joseph Smith, the inspired prophet Brigham Young, his successor, left Nauvoo for the banks of the Great Salt Lake, where, in the midst of that fertile region, directly on the route of the immigrants who crossed Utah on their way to California, the new colony, thanks to the polygamy practiced by the Mormons, had flourished beyond expectations. Oh boy. All right. That's a good thing we're going to leave this behind. Yeah. And this, added Elder William Hitch, this is why the jealousy of the Congress has been aroused against us. Why have the soldiers of the Union invaded the soil of Utah? Why has Brigham Young, our chief, been imprisoned in contempt of all justice? Shall we yield to force? Never. See, I'm going to go for another little hike and take some pictures here. And, oh, do you want to come along? It's not too bad. I'm going by myself. Never. Driven from Vermont, driven from Illinois, driven from Ohio, driven from Missouri, driven from Utah. We shall yet find some independent territory on which to plant our tents. And you, my brother, continued the elder, fixing his angry eyes upon his single auditor, will you not plant yours there too, under the shadow of our flag? No, replied Passepartout courageously, in his turn retiring from the car and leaving the elder to preach to vacancy. During the lecture, the train had been making good progress, and toward 12:30, it reached the northwest border of the Great Salt Lake. Then the passengers could observe the vast extent of this interior sea, which is also called the Dead Sea, and into it which flows, and oh boy, here we go. We're really chewing this up all of a sudden. Must have been the Mormon thing. Which is also called the Dead Sea, and into which flows an American Jordan. It is a picturesque expanse, framed in lofty crags in large strata, encrusted with white salt, a superb sheet of water, which was formerly of larger extent than now, its shores having encroached with the lapse of time, and thus at once reduced its breadth and increased its depth. The Salt Lake, 70 miles long and 35 wide, is situated 3 miles, 800 feet, 3 miles, 800 feet above the sea. All right, let's just figure out those numbers. Yeah, okay. No. Quite different from Lake Asphaltite, oh boy, whose depression is 1,200 feet below the sea. It contains considerable salt, and 1/4 of the weight of its water is solid matter, its specific weight being 1,170, and after being distilled, 1,000. Fishes are, of course, unable to live in it, and those which descend through the Jordan, the Weber, and other streams soon perish. The country around the lake, as well cultivated, for the Mormons are mostly farmers, while ranchers and pens for domestic animals, fields of wheat, corn, and other cereals, luxuriant prairies, hedges of wild rose, clumps of acacias, and milkwort would have been 6 months later. Now the ground was covered with a thin powdering of snow. Boy, I have to go back and dive into that myself a little bit and just see. Let's take a look at this drive. Oh, I think we're just going to head right back to the campground. We started out at Dora, and we just did an out and back kind of thing. Maybe one of these days, I'll take you all on a little hike with me. It's really not that exciting. I don't really go that far. It's not like I climb to the top and hang over a precipice or anything to get any good clicks or anything like that. I just, take a simple little walk around and take about 4 million pictures.
The train reached Ogden at 2 o'clock, where it rested for 6 hours. Mr. Fogg and his party had time to pay a visit to Salt Lake City. Connected with Ogden by a branch road, they spent 2 hours in this strikingly American town, built on the pattern of other cities of the Union, like a checkerboard, with the somber sadness of right angles, as Victor Hugo expresses it. The founder of the City of the Saints could not escape from the taste of symmetry, which distinguishes the Anglo-Saxons. Oh yeah, once they figured out that 90-degree angle thing. In this strange country, where the people are certainly not up to the level of their institutions, everything is done squarely. Cities, houses, and follies. Whew. Oh boy, we just turned in there. I don't know, we might make it. I don't think we're going to make it to the end of this chapter. Maybe I should just delay some more so we absolutely don't. The travelers then were promenading at 3 o'clock about the streets of the town, built between the banks of the Jordan and the spurs of the Wasatch Range. They saw few or no churches, but the prophet's mansion, the courthouse, and the arsenal blue brick houses with verandas and porches, surrounded by gardens bordered with acacias, palms, and locusts. Well, okay. A clay and pebble wall built in 1853 surrounded the town, and in the principal street were the market and several hotels adorned with pavilions. Okay, we're back. We're back at Dora here. I think we're just going to have to call it. I think we're just going to have to call it right there, because, oh boy. So thank you so much for coming along, and I promise we'll do a little bit better next time. Samsy. Oh, and there's another little scooter that we used to roll around on. Now that one, he was a little bit bigger. That was what was that? A Yamaha Majesty 400. So that could take 2 people on the freeway at freeway speeds. And this little scooter I'm on right now, I don't dare get on the freeway with him. He's just a little 150. But that other one, he'd go 90 miles an hour if you made it, And we would put that one inside the fifth wheel toy hauler and take him wherever we went, so we had a way to get around. All right. So now we got big old Rosie. Yes, big old Rosie. You do your thing now. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Cheers out.